Today's January 2nd, 2023. This was back on October 20th, 2019.
So this was yesterday. Today's the 21st of October, 2019.
The very next day, the newscast at Dallas, Texas, about a Home Depot said a tornado hit.
Let's take a look at damage on I-35 in Dallas near Northwest Highway. Storm debris. Damage to some Garland neighborhoods as well. This is near Shiloh Road, north of LBJ Freeway. There are trees down, many homes with roof damage. Garland police say they have no reports of any serious injuries, however. Damage to some Garland neighborhoods as well.
When he said neighborhoods, Robin is on the name there. 3 years ago, what I was saying was it was a tornado click, which was tearing through there. The day before, I'm pointing to my hat, which is showing Home Depot. And many other things took place that I already recorded. Showed you I was about 12 minutes off to the actual prediction of what it was by using a few different videos, clipping it all together. So the very next day, I get a shout out. Some Garland damage, some Garland neighborhoods, Robin hoods as well. Shiloh at Robin Lane.
And the children of Dan set up the graven image. And Jonathan, the son of Gershom, the son of Manasseh, he and his sons were priests, kind of like Roman Catholic priests, with graven images, right? To the who? Tribe of Dan, until the day of the captivity of the land. And they set them up Micah's graven image, which he made all the time that the house of God was in Shiloh.
To spread his message, to build something to match the Romans? They'll need my skills.
Judas, this is dangerous.
Yes.
Rome does not like popular preachers with big followings. They put them away.
I think he's the Messiah. I am almost sure of it.
Many have claimed to be the Messiah. You know what happens to them?
Always the worst case scenario with you. You know, their followers aren't always killed. If he is the Anointed One, sister, then he will not be killed. Then he will not be killed. He will defeat the Romans and set us all free.
I don't want to lose you, Judas. You're all...
Hey, you called me a Judas!
Leslie, he's where the kings of the East might be prepared. How could there be a synonymous meaning between that and the book of Matthew, the wise men? Well, the book of Matthew and the wise men were the genuine, true wise men that came to the birth of Christ to bring gifts that were the fulfillment of prophecy, whereas in the book of Revelation, now we're having Satan and his demonic entities trying to mimic that of the wise men and to bring about their kings. And that's why I pulled up Isaiah from the Dead Sea Scrolls there to show you that they're related, because the wise men and the sons of ancient kings are one and the same.
And then gives us the narrative of his birth. Matthew begins a little bit further back, all the way back with the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Matthew chapter 1 verse 1 says, the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham. But John goes back further than the other three guys, all the way back to the very beginning. In the beginning was
in my beginning.
Tells us he is the language of God, he is the life of God, and he is the light of God. Let's begin with the first. Jesus Christ is the language of God. John puts it this way: in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God. And the Word was God.
This
He was
notebook here, and I can't really show you there, but there are tabs inside. 300-page document of evidence.
was made. Something you need to know about John, the author who wrote this book: he begins the Christmas story earlier than all the other gospel writers. So we have Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Those are the four gospel writers. When Mark begins the story of Jesus, he begins when Christ is an adult at his baptism in the Jordan River.
I'm just getting started. I'm just giving you a little teaser right now.
This is a prophecy update, and really this is a little bit of a teaser for an upcoming series that we are going to begin in the near future. It begins when Christ is an adult at his baptism in the Jordan River. That's where Mark begins. Luke begins a bit further back, way back, like 30 years back. Luke begins a bit further back. Luke begins a bit further back, way back, like 30 years back from that.
Okay, and I want to show you something here. We're going to listen to this.
Jacob Israel shows you the elephant in his room. There's an elephant in the room.
Jesus was born in Bethlehem. In fact, Luke begins with the announcement given to Mary and Joseph that Jesus is going to be born, and then gives us the narrative of his birth. Matthew begins a little bit further back, all the way back with the genealogy of Jesus Christ. Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 says, the book of the genealogy of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham.
I'm not like, I don't hate you, dude.
Yes, you do.
Good afternoon, friends. Stephen and Yana Benoon here on Israeli News Live. And boy, it has been a while since my wife has been on here with us, and I'm very happy that she is here. And we've got several things to be able to share with you. This here is, you're looking at a channel that Yana is actually doing called Odyssey, and it's Israeli News Live.
History of dispensationalism, and I think this is a subject that has to be tackled very seriously, because we're talking about a lot of things that are happening, and we talk about everything. People on channels talk about all kinds of things, but there is this huge big elephant in the room that nobody's addressing.
To thank my sister Helen who sent me this handmade blanket. This is probably the most beautiful handmade piece that I have ever owned in my life.
Alright, so here we are in front of the elephants. The cool thing about these guys is that they have really long prongs, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
Yeah, I have nothing more to say other than I will talk about everything. People on channels talk about all kinds of things, but there is this huge big elephant in the room that nobody is addressing.
There's an elephant in the room. It's me. I'm the elephant in the room.
And that's cool.
At some point.
And that's pretty much all there is to say.
Listen in.
Opportunity to thank my sister Helen who sent me this handmade blanket. This is probably the most beautiful
fun. Really, really long.
I have to tell you, Sister Helen, my wife did, and she got that, and I...
Jacob Israel shows you the elephant in his room. There's an elephant in the room.
Son of David, the son of Abraham. But John goes back further than the other three guys.
When Skip's talking about going all the way back, he's probably talking about to the actual birth itself. And on my case, when I was born in Florida, Bartow, Florida, there's the Dr. Manuel Fiesta, there's Joe Cox. So go figure, Cox, Manuel, and then F. Hill, William, like F. Hill, and Ann Palmer. There's Ann, Palm, Joe, Cox, Ann Palmer, F. Hill, and Manuel Fiesta. All right, it looks like there's three different parties going on here. One of them is 111 11th Street. It's funny that I came into YouTube and I got crucified by Matthew Daly. When I came into YouTube on April 2nd, 2017, it was 11 months and 1 day, which was March 2nd, 2018. So 3/2/2018, Matthew Daly crucified me on that day when he had 111 subscribers on the 11th month, first day. And 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. Blessed is he who waits till 1,335th day. Don't be ignorant of this one thing: a day is as a year is as 1,000 years. Yeah, same thing. 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. And the year, day for a year, when it pertains to Bible prophecy, if it's not Bible prophecy, then it means nothing. But from that 1,335th day, when Satan was bound for that 1 day, just add it like that. Then he went out to go deceive the nations one more time with Gog and Magog. Right here.
From the book of Revelation, it appears to be after what a lot of people call the millennial reign.
That would mean after that 1,000-year period, the millennial reign.
In Ezekiel, it's before the millennial reign as we would know it. So the question then comes in, when is the war really going to happen? It's like kind of odd, right? Ezekiel.
So then on this day, March 2nd, 2018, 11 months and 1 day from my YouTube birth, my first video coming in with a Bowie. This was a 3-hour crucifixion for Matthew Daly on me, specifically because I named the live stream Bash Robin mainly because I knew what he was doing, and he bashed me for 3.5 hours actually. And then I couldn't take it at the end, so at the end I said,
anything I want. What tribulation am I in?
The great tribulation.
The fourth animal, he told me.
All right, you know what?
The fourth world power that will rule the earth. It will be more important than any of the others.
It's enough.
It will devour the whole world.
Hey guys, I'm ending it, and then I'm gonna live again.
His 10 horns.
That way I can be done with this.
Rise out of his empire. Then another king will arise.
so I was going to end it and go live again. So I right here, I was telling you that it's 2 hours and 42 minutes.
I think I got 116. By the way, I had more people subscribe to me last night. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, wow, I'm yelling and being a douche, and I'm getting more subscribers. It was the wildest thing I ever saw. Apparently, people like seeing me go nuts.
Hey, he's going soon. I can't go more than 3 hours. I have to.
Oh, that blew my mind a little bit, but.
Probably because you just heard what I said, because you're listening to me, you see me, you watch me. I've learned it from going on Derek Rose's show. I learned it from tapping into Ryan Hall, that it's just you're watching 24/7. It's like the Daily Show, and you're hearing. And because I just said that, if you were listening to me, maybe that blew your mind just right then and there, because, wow, Robin, how did you know? You're gonna be done with this. You're gonna go live. You're gonna go live again after you can't go 3 hours. And
I don't know the point of live
it's
streaming
clearly
now,
2:26 p.m. Shut up, Matthew. It's clearly 9:26 p.m. You'll see it even clearer. And I'm 2 hours and 55 minutes in on being crucified by Matthew Daly with words.
Oh, you are troll. Hey, Robin, you know I'm not like.
9:26
I
p.m.
hate you, dude.
Yes, you do.
You know that.
No, I do know that. You hate
See,
me.
Robin's in the channel now. You
You're
guys ready?
Now, I realize that now Matthew was just doing his job. He said that he would go to hell if he didn't do his job with what he was supposed to do that very day. With 111 subscribers on my 11th month and first day going into YouTube after Joel Karim made his first video on April 23rd, 2005. Very first video uploaded on YouTube. To my very first video upload on YouTube. 11 years, 11 months, and 11 days. And on my birth certificate, there's one of the addresses there out of the three. 111 North, 11th Street. This was printed back in, July, 8 days after I was born. This was printed. This is the original birth certificate. And then something was added here as a stamp. 4 years later, 4.5 years later, this F. Hill God County Health Officer Regent, Deputy Registrar, Night Under the Stars. It's like a night under the stars. It just tends to be all about the ones, and this is in the middle.
The district attorneys are involved.
Hypocrites! By the way, he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets. That is, God always warns his people by sending some kind of sign so that his people know. He warns his people by sending some kind of sign so that his people know. It's an indicator. Remember the time when the religious leaders wanted Jesus to prove who he was? They asked for a sign from heaven. And Matthew 16, listen to Jesus' full of love answer to them.
Now, because, it's just like.
Hypocrites!
Oh, you are troll. Hey, Robin, you know I'm not like. I don't hate you, dude.
Yes, you do.
You know that.
No, I do know that. You hate
See,
me.
Robin's in the channel now. You guys ready? Now I bet you guys are gonna start talking crap to Robin, right? Because I bet
they already knew
he
I was
incarnate love. So when he speaks, even though he uses harsh language, he was filled with love. Hypocrites, you know how to discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times.
A real Christian, I don't label myself a Christian at all. I label myself just a follower of Jesus Christ. And
Hypocrites. By the way, he was incarnate love. So when he speaks, even though he uses harsh language, he was filled with love. Hypocrites, you know how to discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times. You know what he's talking about? His first coming. There were several signs of his first coming. Anybody know how many? About 300.
Much right here. This notebook here, and I can't really show you there, but there are tabs inside. 300
and yes,
page document of 300-page document of evidence.
300 to 330 is the conservative estimate scholars say are the Old Testament predictions made about the Messiah.
330. If I was to go 330 weeks from my YouTube birth, it would take me to somewhere around 7:30, 8/1, August 1st, July 30th, 2023. And then if I was to go until the sanctuary is cleansed altogether, 2,300 days, it's 10 days before that, July 20th, 2023. So it's looking pretty good for this summer coming around. You put in this amount of days for free. I mean, something's got to pay off eventually, don't you think? But it's not just putting it in for free. It's 2,000. A day is a year is a day is as 1,000 years, and 300 page document, 300 signs, maybe 330 signs. I mean, I don't know how many signs you need, but this is coming to a close. We're at the end of this revelation. So Florida begins with 33. The zip codes, all the zip codes are 33. So if I only had to go 3,300 weeks or 330 weeks, and then I don't even know how it's supposed to look like when it happens. Can somebody try to explain to me subliminally what it's going to look like when it's finally over and everything I've been talking about is actually proven, and it's not just speaking into la la land and there's like 7 or maybe 2 handfuls of people that truly see what's going on here? What's that going to look like?
You know what he's talking about? His first coming. There were several signs of his first coming. Anybody know how many? About 300. 300 to 330 is the conservative estimate scholars say are the Old Testament predictions made about the Messiah.
Lakeland and Bartow. 33830. It's all swampland. This looks like a baby's head coming up. But it's coming up from, when you follow the path, it goes all the way to the mouth of the devil. The nose of the devil. Invert of the nose and the eye. see a horse looking, start with the eye there, then the nose going around like that, going up, the ear, the horn. Everything's purposely meant to have these images in them, and it was all carved out. Like the water right here, so these designs can go in them. All carved out. They raised the land a little bit and then just let the water fill in the rest. This is like Homer Simpson here, the nose. You can also see the Petco 2 looking devil. I love when I get rid of the labels and it just pops right back up as if you didn't even push the button. So funny. So funny. So here. You turn it around, you see the creature coming out with the head, the nose, and the mouth opened up, and the eye is right here. This computer is so disobedient. See that? It just does it on its own. But it comes after straight gang stuff. It's unbelievable. The reason why I click this off is so I can get a bigger view. And then as soon as I do that, it just pops up by itself. Isn't that a disobedient computer? Anyway, it's that head from the Petco 2. Looks like coming after that egghead. But instead of this one, it's ball-headed. Of course, everything's going to be the opposite direction. So you got to look at it in the opposite. Coming from this end to the back of this head here. Almost looks like RoboCop, really. Is that Christophilus? That's crazy. They were showing us robots from back then. I thought this was his face, and then they did like a CGI robot thing in the back, but now I think this was an actual robot, and this was just a fleshly skin-looking face that looks so real. There he goes. RoboCop. Is down there. RoboCop in Florida. A witch mouth. And it turns to a dolphin. And it turns to persecuting this RoboCop. That would mean that there's like half hybrids. That like this would be the hybrid state if you just turn things upside down. It's basically he's upside down, and then this reptilian here with the eye in the back has the baby in its stomach, in the belly of this beast. And it's everywhere. It's like this main one face is coming out. The eye starts there and there. Has like a part on the side of its face, right? It has the droopy eye here. If you want to look at it, it has a googly eye here. If you're looking at the eyes like that, this one's looking in like, and this one is straight. But if you look at it where half of its face is a greenish tint, and then down here, you would have the bottom of the sheep. I guess the tongue would be somewhere in this area, but it's like the half face. In my baby portrait, I have this painting or whatever, like the background, that has this half face, this eyeball blending in with my hair. And this one, and the long nose and the mouth opened up with the tongue sticking out where my ear is. It's like a half of face. This is definitely one of the eyes. It's basically closed. And then you can start with this one here being opened. Follow the eye there. This one kind of being squinted. Then you can start with this eye. This one looks like a bird with its wing out, but still has an eye look to it. The mouth starting here, nose in that area. And that looks like this other portion right there has that indented nose and the tongue is open. Eye socket here, eye socket there. Mouth socket here, nose in that direction. But the whole thing is outlined as apparently Adam, because his nose is here, it's right under his nose, lips, chin, goatee, coming down to the Adam's apple, the head, and then the ponytail. And then the ear, looks like the ear's cut off. There's another face here, looks like it's been pretty beat up. The eye is here, it's like a black eye down to its nose. Its other eye is here. Kind of looks like it's plucked out, the right eye, but it looks dead. But this could also be the actual chin, the mouth, the nose, the eye that's closed, the head. This could be the actual AI or the smaller being that's inside of these face masks. So the entire outside can just look like whatever it needs to, but your head can be really small, and you can be like you can be really small and hop into these giant meat suits that have face of a man, but then hair like woman. Because if you take this head portion here with the eye shut, the lid, and the nose and the face is in that direction, almost as if it's turned, sleeping. See how he lights up and it like projects the light from the king here. It's the Garden of Eden in front of him, because it's green and lush. But behind them is a desert wasteland. Foxes have holes. The eye here, the eye there, the reddish tint, the nose area, the ear in this direction. Foxes have holes. Out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, out of the mouth of the false prophet. Got another sheep up here with his eye here, eye there, and the tongue sticking out the nose. Smiling. The ear coming down here. Another serpent looking like he's coming from heaven. I see that face now, that the eye socket here, eye there, and the Squidward nose right there. The mouth opened up and the back of where the jaw is. See that? The elongated nose. Look at this picture. He has like an elongated nose. The eye and the eye. And yes, the clouds are drawn in so you can see certain things, like this armor bearer. 4, 3, 2, 1. Before the fire. Be still, Robin Henry Tees, and know that I am Adam and David, Prince of Judah. Yeah? Well, I spoke out loud on Christmas 2022. And I said, how about if you be still, Adam and David, Prince of Judah, and know that I am Robin Henry Tees, and I will surpass you after I created this. In only 6 days, it went up to #1 spot, even surpassing, I have called by name, Bezalel. Not really sure how to pronounce that. The son of Uriah, the son of Hur of the tribe of Judah. Uriah the Hittite was killed by David. So this is the son of Uriah who was killed by David, who has been called out by name. Which name? Adam and David? Robin Henry Tees? Stephen James DeShawn?
Established two things. There will be an end of the world, and Jesus will be back. Two certainties. Number 3, third prediction for the future. There will be signs. Look at verse 7. So they asked him, saying, Teacher, when will these things be? And what sign will there be that these things are about to take place? Verse 11. And there will be, Jesus says, and there will be great earthquakes in various places, and famines and pestilences. There will be fearful sights and great signs from heaven. Verse 25. And there will be signs in the sun, in the moon, in the stars.
On
the
11th
earth,
month and first day.
And on earth, distress of nations with perplexity.
Since my
The
birth.
sea and the waves roaring. Men's hearts failing them from fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven will be shaken. And then go all the way down to verse 31. So you also, when you see these things happening, know that the kingdom of God is near. There are signs. There are indicators. The word signs, the Greek word semeion, means a mark or a signal. Listen, God is a God of signs. God is a God of signs. God gives indicators when he is going to do something. You know why he does? You know why he does? Because he wants people to be aware that he's doing it. That's why he does it. Amos chapter 3, verse 7 says, surely the Lord God does nothing unless he reveals his secret to his servants, the prophets. That is, God always warns his people by sending some kind of sign so that his people know. It's an indicator. Remember the time when the religious leaders wanted Jesus to prove who he was? They asked for a sign.
Why the
from
ending
heaven.
is so
And
fun.
Matthew 16, listen to Jesus. You know what he's talking about? His first coming. There were several signs of his first coming. Anybody know how many? About 300.
Been saying much because I cannot, but I will share with you this much right here. This notebook here, and I can't really show you there, but there are tabs inside. 300-page document.
300 to 330 is the conservative estimate scholars say are the Old Testament predictions made about the Messiah.
Who is he, the Messiah? Messiah would be just a man. God in heaven, Jesus.
Here's how I find my birthplace. I go to the devil here. I go to where his nose is. And I go, because it's right under his nose. And then I'll follow the cavity all the way down to this head. It looks like a baby head. Kind of, with like hair though. And then I'll go down here. As soon as my computer doesn't freeze up, it'll unfreeze. Here's my birthplace with the wheelchair, doing the wheelie. Joel Karim, unhinging his jaw, putting his foot in his mouth, a tooth for a tooth, an eye for an eye. The 8th, being born in the 8th district. Being of the 7, the 2, foot in the mouth, magnetizing, magnetic field, drawing all beast. With their glasses, their doctor glasses, that stethoscope or whatever that thing's called around them, like a doctor has. Under a roller. Man, it's just terrible. Terrible. I wonder why it is. When I reset the computer, it's faster, and then when I'm going through it, it just slows down really, really fast. I wonder why it is. And then if you go right next door, oh, would you look at that? I get gang stalked by this big red truck that I can't even see what's over there. It's just, get out of the way, man. Bartow Ford dealership. Ford dealership, my hospital, and just about nothing else in sight along the route.
An electrical engineer, he was a physicist, he was a chemist, he was a mathematician, he was just a brilliant guy. He was so smart that when Henry Ford started building his automobiles, he had a problem in his factory in Dearborn, Michigan. And he knew that since a machine broke down, nobody can fix it. There is only one person who can fix my generator, and that is Charles Steinmetz. So he called for Steinmetz to come in and fix his problem. Steinmetz came to the plant in Dearborn, Michigan. They offered him the best engineer team with him, the best tools, and he said, I really don't want anything, I don't want anyone, all I want is a pencil, a notebook, and a cot to sleep on. So he moved the cot by the broken generator with his pad of paper and his pencil. He started writing notes and making calculations and looking around and making observations. And the second day, he elapsed into the second night, and on the second night, he asked for a ladder. Around and making observations, and the second day, he elapsed into the second night, and on the second night, he asked for a ladder. And he climbed up the ladder on this generator at a certain point, observing it, and he took a piece of chalk and he made a single mark on the generator. Then he told the skeptical team of engineers at Ford Motor Company, remove the plate where I made the chalk mark and replace 16 winds of the field coil. And they were skeptical. They thought, that'll never work. But you know, they did it. And you know what happened? It worked. It worked. It worked. And Henry Ford was elated. He was so happy. I knew Charlie could fix it. He was elated until he got the bill in the mail. Now, the bill in the mail from Charles Steinmetz's company, General Electric, was for $10,000. A hefty sum in those days, a hefty sum any day. He said, $10,000 for doing that? So he wrote back to Steinmetz and he said, I demand an itemized bill. Steinmetz wrote back and said, all right. For making the chalk mark, $1. For knowing exactly where to make the chalk mark, $9,999. See, it's not about making the chalk mark, it's about knowing exactly what to do. Events around the Christmas story were nighttime events.
In the night is a language that is interpreted.
We know that Jesus was probably born at night.
At night is when not everybody can see it. At night is when Christ comes as a thief in the night, because it's a language.
Because shepherds were watching their flocks by night, We also know the wise men came and found the Lord Jesus by looking up at the night sky and navigating their way from Persia to Bethlehem. They went.
Christ was born in the winter on Christmas. That is correct. Christ was also born in the spring. You are correct. Christ was born at night in the fall. You are correct. How was he born in all three? Well, first, he's born in the spring, which is a literal birthing into the system in the springtime. Then Christ is born at night because the watchers were watching after their flock at night. And then Christ was birthed through spirit, through communication at night. Christ was born in the fall. Well, how can he be born in the spring and in the winter on Christmas when Christmas is the revealing of his birth? How he was born, where he was born, why he was born. The Christmas was on birth, the birth was on Christmas. But it was also in the fall. But Christmas is in the winter. In the fall of man is when Christ was birthed. At night was when Christ was birthed. On Christmas is when Christ was birthed. And then in the spring is when Christ was birthed.
And so the idea of your coming means you're going to have some kind of punctuating event, like within the next few days.
Really? January 1st, 2023. It's January 2nd, 2023.
That establishes your end time presence in this place. Few days that establishes your end time presence in this place. And you're going to now tell us, hopefully, what those signs are.
I wonder if you're talking about the asteroids that are coming. Like, are they really finally going to hit, or is it just all fear porn and nothing's ever going to happen at all? Or is it the second 9/11? Does that finally take place in Philly? Does that... Yeah, I'm done making my predictions, but it's 9:19 p.m., January 2nd. 119 in 17 days is 911 backwards, and then number 2 is right behind it. But the perfect number 7777 just came around the corner and nothing happened. But I also heard about these airplanes being canceled, and maybe there's some kind of, with an EMP strike over here in America, or even if Russia winds up nuking us, and that's what they say, and power's taken out, asteroids falling into Philadelphia and hitting the buildings that I said. That's the only way I can see that happening, where that Christ spirit would just explode into people, because I'm telling you, that's who gave me the information, the Christ spirit. Christ spirit is a collaboration of a bunch of people. Even the biggest liars, I get information from. The Christ spirit isn't the fact that someone is a liar. The Christ spirit is the fact that you can get the truth from that liar. And then you can use that to tie everything together, like a bow, tying everything together. Coming in on a white horse, tying everything together. Where there's 2 or more. Well, there's Skip a day ago, talking about.
You know how to discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times. You know what he's talking about? His first coming. There were several signs of his first coming. Anybody know how many? About 300. 300 to 330 is the...
That was a day ago. And then
I have not
And
been saying much because I cannot.
7 days ago.
But I will share with you this much right here. This notebook here, and I can't really show you there, but there are tabs inside. 300-page document of evidence, and the evidence is overwhelming.
So when I do that, my attempt is to show you that whether these people are in direct communication, I thought they were at first, but then I thought, well, I don't know, maybe they're not really in direct communication. Maybe they never even met each other. Maybe they don't even know who they are. But through my videos, I'm putting this out there because you are somebody that knows what's going on in this world. You are obviously that type of species. So God led me in a direction, a spirit in heaven led me in a direction to take people's clips of what they're doing and saying and line it up with the next person, and then use that person and that person as two or more witnesses in order to back up my claim of their communication. And then, but what are they communicating about? Why is everybody doing and saying things in their videos that pertains to what I'm doing and saying in my videos? It must have something to do with 300 pages of 2,100 days. So instead of having a book this thick of 2,100 pages, you got to condense it. You can't hand somebody a 2,100 page book and be like, here, doosh, read this. Here's what Robin gave me. Doosh. Instead, it's like John's job is to sum it up and seal it up. Three Sabbath days, 300 weeks, times 7, 2,100 days. So if I was to write a journal about my experience on YouTube so far, I would have, 2,101 days would be today. 2,101 pages of each day being documented. But instead, I just push record and document it, and somebody else writes down notes.
Back in 100 years and identify the coronavirus epidemic as the moment when a new regime of surveillance took over, especially surveillance under the skin, which I think is maybe the most important development of the 21st century, is this ability to hack human beings. This ability to hack human beings. Make of it what you will. I just want to say this, for 2,000 years, it didn't seem possible. When the Bible predicted that the whole world would take a mark called the mark of the beast, it didn't seem possible. When the Bible predicted that the whole world would take a mark called the mark of the beast, it just didn't seem possible. And COVID doesn't technically qualify as a prophetic sign in this context, but I think it's a precursor of it. I now have a better understanding after experiencing 3 years of COVID what the tribulation and the events of the tribulation will be like.
After Israel had captured the land, they met at Shiloh and set up the sacred tent. There were still 7 tribes without any land, so Joshua told the people,
"The Judah tribe has already settled in its land in the south."
Chapter 18, they moved their headquarters from Gilgal, that little place on the side of the Jordan River by Jericho, and they move it for geographic and military reasons.
Damage to some Garland neighborhoods as well. This is near Shiloh Road, north of LBC.
The place called Shiloh. Verse 1, chapter 18, the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh, set up the tabernacle of meeting there. Now I'm pausing because I'm going to tell you something in a moment. They set up the tabernacle in Shiloh there, and the land was subdued before them. This is the first permanent placement of the tabernacle in the land of Canaan, and it will stay there at Shiloh for the next 369 years.
For the next 369 years. So the next 3 years, October 25th, 2021, 69, 369 years. For the next 369 years. New Year's, 69, 369.